with you and bringing joy and delight to the people of the greater Cleveland area.
Thank you. I'm so glad that ended on a high there because I really didn't know what direction that was going.
I'm actually feeling a little bit of envy about your computer. I've just got these rotten old scripts and you're like in the future there with your fancy pants computer thing.
I mean, I have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have to be able to communicate with people, with Matt, all the way over in the weather center.
There was some intense weather coming our way.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And there might actually be some intense weather coming our way, Matt.
Yeah, intense, we'll see. But, you know, I can't get over it. Mike, I do scripts too, all right? Old-fashioned. That thing goes out, Wi-Fi goes out, we're in trouble.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, guys, we've got a wintry mix of some rain. It started as rain, now it's changing over to wet snow pretty quickly across portions of the area. This is behaving exactly as we expected with the onset of the rain, atmospheric cooling going on, so that rain changing over to wet snow. And it's coming down good at times. We've got up to a ½ inch in areas right now, and you can see the hodgepodge on the radar where you get the rain mixing with the blues, which would be our radar indicating that perhaps some snow's mixing in. So I want to start you out east. Lake County, Vrooman Road, you can see some flakes mixing in, reduced visibility. Roads are fine. They're just wet at this time. We're not expecting a high impact event. You take you down towards the 422 split, I-71, 271. Snowflakes, this is new. Over the last 5 minutes or so, everything's kind of switched over. Down to the south, we've got reduced visibilities down towards the Akron area where you got all that construction there, 76 and 77. Out towards the west, same deal in Brunswick. It was coming down real good about 5 minutes ago there with very low visibility. And you can see, a little coating there on the grassy surfaces. Road temperatures, again, above freezing, so we should be okay throughout the evening hours. And then US 30 down towards Mansfield. Temperatures are cooling. We're going to be down in the mid, even lower 30s over the next couple hours, so we may have some slick roads out there. We'll take you through how long this lasts. And a big New Year's Eve and New Year's Day storm, eastern half of the country. We'll talk about that coming up. Mike?
Appreciate it, Matt. Stay where we can see you. We'll check back in soon.
And as this winter storm is pounding parts of the nation, we are following developing news tonight out of Northern California, where a skier who grew up in Northeast Ohio is missing. Our Mark Namick has been following this story. Mark, what can you tell us?
Yeah, a guy, 43-year-old Rory Angelata, left the ski shop where he worked early on Christmas Day for what authorities believed was supposed to be a quick run or two before dinner. The 1996 graduate of St. Ignatius High School scanned his ski pass around 11:30 a.m. at the North Star Ski Resort in Truckee. He never made it down to meet his friends for a planned Christmas meal.
On Christmas night, we went out there and the storm was just rolling in at that point. It was pretty heavy, but we still deployed some searchers and they were able to at least scour the mountain. But it was pretty bad, from ancillary support personnel to actual volunteers who are out there either snowshoeing, skiing, snowcat, snowmobiles. The odds of surviving are extremely small, unfortunately. We're not giving up.
Angelata moved to Colorado years ago and only recently to California. One of his sisters arrived a few hours ago in Truckee to help with the search. The family, which has been talking to 3 News, is hoping for a miracle. And if Angelata's name sounds familiar to some, his grandfather, John Angelata, was a Cuyahoga County judge for 38 years. Isabel?
So sad, Mark. We'll definitely be following along as they continue the search.
And now to the latest COVID numbers in Ohio. The state reported 15,403 new cases today, much higher than yesterday's cases, which were just over 8,000. So that's almost double. And 440 more people were admitted to the hospital over the last 24 hours across the state.
And while it's still hard to find at-home test kits, people are lining up at mass testing sites instead. Emma Henderson dropped by one in Akron today that's getting help from the National Guard. And Emma, tell us, how did it go?
Well, Isabel, this one was through the Summit County Health Department and Summa Health. They had 300 tests people got online and pre-registered for yesterday. Those booked up quick, and staff and volunteers were there to make sure everything went smooth today. We're seeing more mass testing events pop up, including one tomorrow in Lake County. And the rules can be different at each one. For instance, in Summit County, it was required you pre-register online, while tomorrow's Lake County will be taking people on a first-come, first-served basis. Although they did say it would help them greatly if you head to the Lake County General Health District website, download and fill out a registration form ahead of time.
Yeah, this has been a great deal of work on the part of all the organizations, the volunteers over the course of the last week or so. Appointments have gone very quickly. We will continue to open more and add to those.
The The other thing to be aware of as you look at mass testing sites, they have different types of tests. Today in Summit County, they were doing the more sensitive PCR tests that are sent back to a lab for results, while tomorrow in Lake County, it will be rapid tests. Now, coming up at 6, we'll talk about when is the best window to get tested, especially if you're doing that at-home test kit with a limited supply of the tests that are on the shelves. Isabel?
All right, thank you, Emma. Good to hear about these options. And for our complete guide on COVID-19 testing, including locations for mass testing, appointments, and the latest on at-home kits, text the word TEST to 216-344-3300, that number here on your screen, and we will send a link directly to your phone.
Well, we've all seen the numbers. The Omicron variant exploded over the Christmas holiday, with states across the country shattering new records. This as the CDC released new guidelines which shortens quarantine time. Our Lindsay Buckingham went to a local expert to break it all down.
Yesterday, the CDC cut isolation times for asymptomatic Americans with COVID-19 based on evidence that infected people are most contagious in the 2 days before and 3 days after symptoms start. But the new information has some people confused on when it's safe to leave the house. We spoke to Dr. Kristen England, infectious disease physician at Cleveland Clinic, to help explain. First question, if you test positive, how long do you isolate?
If you test positive and you're asymptomatic, or if your symptoms are improving, at 5 days, you can come out of isolation.
And after isolation, the CDC says you have to wear a mask for another 5 days in all settings. But if you have a fever, that changes things.
They don't want you to come out of isolation until your fever is completely gone.
Now, here's where you should pay attention. If you've been exposed to COVID-19 but have been boosted or had the 2 initial Pfizer or Moderna vaccines in the last 6 months, or the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the last 2 months, you don't have to quarantine if asymptomatic. But you do have to wear a mask around others for 10 days. The guidelines are different for the unvaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated and you've been exposed, then you should isolate for 5 days, get tested, and at the end of that, if negative, then you can go back out into public, but you should be wearing a mask for another 5 days.
Now, in addition to those rising COVID case numbers, there's another crisis, and that is the overwhelmed hospital systems. That's why Dr. England says you should know when to go. And unlike COVID-19 tests, these pulse oximeters, which go on your finger, are readily available at pharmacies. So if they read in the low 90s or you're feeling shortness of breath, you should go to the ER. Lindsay Buckingham, 3 News.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. Well, tonight, the cruise ship industry is dealing with a COVID mess once again. Thankfully, though, this is nothing like the spring of 2020 when passengers were stranded at sea for weeks.
But it's also not what the cruise industry was hoping for as people return to the water for their holiday vacations. Multiple ships returned to the U.S. ports with outbreaks after being turned away from ports in the Caribbean and Mexico. The Holland America ship is now back in San Diego after getting turned away from Puerto Vallarta because an undisclosed number of crew members tested positive, even though the company says they were fully vaccinated.
And the Carnival Freedom is back in Florida after being turned away from Bonaire and Aruba after an undisclosed number on board tested positive. Ashley Peterson, a passenger on the 8-day cruise, says it was a nightmare.
I feel like I was just in a petri dish waiting to get COVID. I didn't feel safe at all. I basically spent most of the time during the day locked in my cabin.
Royal Caribbean's International's Odysseys of the Seas spent 1 day at sea before turning back to Fort Lauderdale after 1 passenger tested positive. All 3 cruise lines require adult passengers to show proof of vaccination and a negative COVID test while encouraging the masks being used indoors.
Now on your feed at 5, if you are planning an overseas trip and need a new passport, it's going to cost you more. The fees for a new passport went up by $20 yesterday. The price of a first-time or replacement adult passport is now $165. A renewal will cost you $130. The fee for expedited delivery remains at $60.
It's expensive to get out of this country these days. Well, with less than 3 days away from 2022, the Big Apple is continuing preparations for the new year. Workers in Times Square installed 192 new crystals on the New Year's Eve ball yesterday, adding the 2022 Gift of Wisdom design. The Waterford crystal ball is 12 feet in diameter, weighing more than 11,000 pounds and holding more than 2,600 crystal triangles. This year's Times Square celebration will be scaled back due to COVID restrictions. Attendees are required to be fully vaccinated, with the crowd limited to 15,000 people. Now that seems safe.
Well, all of you who wear glasses just for reading, this new information is for you. The FDA has approved an eye drop that's aimed at replacing reading glasses. So it's called Vuity, and it costs around $80 per bottle. Around 128 million Americans suffer with poor vision after a certain age.
Presbyopia is a word that just means old eyes in the Greek language. When people get over age 40, the lens in their eye becomes stiffer and less flexible, and that means that it's more difficult to read up close.
The eye drops decrease the pupil size and improve your depth of focus. People who have used this say they see clever results after around 15 minutes, with vision improvement lasting about 6 hours. Okay.
This is insane to me. It's like from the future, first of all. Right. We agree, like that's something out of Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Where you would give yourself super eyes by dropping things into them. So we found that. So good job, science, I guess, to start off with. But it just does seem like a flawed concept in a lot of perspectives. Say I want to take a driver's test or something like that, and I got to pass the eye test or something. I can cheat by taking assuming that my problem is being farsighted, I think. And then also, wouldn't that stink when all of a sudden you're just in the middle of something and then your eyes just go lousy again because you got to redrop?
Okay, these are things I admittedly had not considered because
I only think of the downsides of things and not the positives. Did you know that about? Okay,
I could tell, especially at the beginning of the show here.
Yes.
But I guess you'd have to time it if you're, reading your bedtime story, a little novel before bed.
Right.
That you're going to be asleep when the effects wear off, so that you're not, like you said,
waking up and you're just like, where am I?
Right.
Yeah. Still. Great advancements that we can turn into X-Men with our vision now. Good job, science.
Keep
it up.
Positive.
Yep, there's the positive.
Well, next on What's New, we are looking ahead to the Consumer Electronics Show that kicks off in Vegas in just a few days. From COVID protocols to some new devices that will be featured.
Ooh. Plus, the new Batman trailer has been released, nerds. Dig in. We'll have a preview up ahead for you in our pop break. Hey, welcome back to What's New. And on this Tech Tuesday, we're gearing up for the Consumer Electronics Show.
I also just wanted to add that, as is relevant to you in this story as you dance, our producer just told him he looks like the kind of guy who could fix a computer.
And I said, thank you. I am not that kind of nerd. I'm a Monty Python nerd, but I appreciate being mistaken for someone who could be good at something.
Well, there you go. Well,
yeah.
There are some new protocols, we know, COVID protocols that are in place for this annual Tech Fest. It's in Las Vegas from January 5th through the 8th. And there will be complimentary COVID rapid testing kits as people pick up their badges. And everyone is already required to be fully vaccinated and to wear masks. But some big name tech giants are already dropping out of the event in person. So GM, Microsoft, T-Mobile, Google, Intel, TikTok, Twitter, Amazon, and Meta, to name a few, they have all switched to virtual-only appearances because of COVID concerns.
Luckily, they do have the tech for it. Despite all of that, CES is expected to bring some new gadgets and gizmos to consumers, including LG's 55-inch curved TV equipped with a recliner, finally. The media chair includes a new feature called Cinematic Sound OLED, which allows the display to vibrate, making its own sound without any external speakers. No word on cost yet. I feel like we're running out of ideas. Just attach a TV to a chair, to a recliner.
All in one. There you go. One-stop shop. And then one tech company that is still in for the CES event is Samsung, who today released this mysterious teaser trailer. It shows, I'm not sure, what appear to be aliens here behind that frosted window. Samsung says it's, quote, foreshadowing the big things that will be announced at CES 2022 and its vision for the future.
Whew, well, I am intrigued.
Aliens?
What are those aliens hiding back there? This marketing worked on me.
Here you go.
I want to know what's up.
It's a success. You'll also buy the TV recliner.
I will. I will take the TV recliner, whatever those aliens are hiding back there. Right. I want it all.
I think they're hiding a TV recliner.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, you only have to buy one thing.
They doubled back on us. Matt, you got all kinds of tech gadgets over there. You got anything fun cooking with your tech?
Just a radar. That's it. Yeah, I've been staring at it.
What's it telling us?
Yeah, well, it's telling us a rain-snow mix outside, guys. Things getting sloppy in a hurry across portions of the viewing area, and this is only going to last for a couple hours, and it's out of here. Your evening out forecast. We've got the rain and snow next couple hours. It'll start to wane in intensity and eventually push on out. We're going to turn it all over to drizzle tonight as we bring warmer air in aloft. So radar right now, pretty active looking, right? We've got a good push of precip coming in as this heads into our atmosphere. Remember, we have some dry air in there, so the rain's falling. Some of that evaporated at the onset. Evaporation being a cooling process, so our temperatures come down. So that rain that we had is now changing over to some of that wet snow. And when you do get some of the wet snow, it's coming down good at times. Big old sloppy flakes. Out towards the east, Vrooman Road, reduced visibilities. We've got big flakes mixing in with the rain there. 271 at US 422 dealing with some snowflakes. Just wet surfaces right now, not dealing with any snow cover, at least on the roads as of right now. Brunswick, we've seen about a half an inch of snow in areas of the grassy areas there on the surface and the medians. Overall, we may have some slick spots, especially now that the sun's gone down. We lose that daytime heating, even though it was through the clouds. And you notice how temperatures have come down to near freezing out towards the west, above freezing east. But again, you get some of those heavier snowfall rates. Could see a quick accumulation. So be careful out there this evening, especially over the next 2 or 3 hours. Why 2 or 3 hours? Well, this is our push of moisture. It'll be out of here before we know it. We'll just turn to some drizzle overnight tonight. There's no push of cold air with this system. Temps going to remain steady, even rise overnight tonight. Your national Zymart hour-by-hour forecast showing that we change over to mainly rain later on this evening. I would be surprised we still had wet snow mixed in here. Then it's out of here by 9. We have scattered showers and drizzle, just kind of murky after that. Again, temperatures will hold tonight near 40. Tomorrow, a quiet Wednesday expected. Sun peaks, says our model. I don't know. I think we're going to be stuck in the clouds tomorrow. Temperatures shouldn't be too bad, though. Low 40s by the afternoon, so pretty comfortable day, all things considered. And we'll stay pretty quiet until Wednesday night. A little bit more rain moving back in. How much snow are we talking? Slushy 1 to 2 at best. I think most of us will see half an inch or less, but this is pretty much what we've been saying. Remember yesterday, the model showing 5 inches down to the south. I said, don't jump on that yet. Thank goodness we didn't, because things don't look to be too bad outside of, again, the next 2 hours, couple slick spots. What happens beyond that? Weak system moves through here on Thursday, couple showers, not a lot to write home about with that. This one will be something to write home about. Big system for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Look at the real estate this thing takes up. We're on the warmer side, so New Year's Eve plan for some rain moving in. New Year's Day on Saturday looks wet, and then Saturday night, Sunday, we get Arctic cold. Only one day of it, but it's going to turn colder around here. We'll likely have snow, and look at the snow. West still getting hammered. Wherever the northern tier of that snow system is, we're going to have heavy snow, perhaps Chicago, Michigan. Doesn't look to hit our area. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast 40s and even into the 50s for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then temps tumble only in the 20s to near 30 by Monday. We'll be back with more after this.
We're talking lots of things in Pop Break today. Don't really know. Batman and things. Thank you.
Welcome back. It's time to take a pop break.
From New Year's Eve trips, Batman and Kanye West making a bold move. Kiera Cotton joins us from the newsroom with more. Kiera.
Hi, Mike and Isabel. Now, at the end of the day, Kanye West is a family man, even if his actions may appear strange to some. Yesterday, it was reported that Kanye bought a new home directly across the street from his estranged wife's home, Kim Kardashian. Kim filed for divorce back in February, and Kanye has since been trying to win her back. However, a source says this latest move is all about the kids. According to People magazine, when Kanye found out that he could buy the home and be close to his children, he jumped at the idea. The 44-year-old entertainment mogul purchased the home at a whopping $4.5 million and is expected to start construction ASAP. Together, Kim and Kanye share 4 children: North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. And calling all DC fans, there's a new trailer for The Batman out now, and things are getting spicy. The movie stars Robert Pattinson as Batman and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. And in the trailer, we see their relationship start to develop, all while Batman tries to take down the Riddler. According to a synopsis for the film, Bruce Wayne is deep into the shadows of Gotham City after 2 years of stalking the streets as Batman. The Batman is set to release exclusively in theaters on March 4th. And as 2021 is winding down, Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve has reached a huge milestone. On Friday, the annual show hosted by Ryan Seacrest will celebrate year 50. The famed ball drop will take place with a limited audience and tight health rules. The night will feature special guest hosts and performances from all over the world. Chloe, Journey, LL Cool J, and Karol G are all set to perform. You know, Mike and Isabel, this is a huge change from last year when only essential workers were allowed at the ball drop and Times Square was completely empty. So here's to hoping things continue to improve in the new year.
Baby steps. We're getting there. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Now on to our Worth the Watch. Most people can probably agree that getting splashed by a moving car with a puddle isn't a fun experience. But that's exactly what this group of friends wanted. They made a sign outside into a huge puddle saying, "Splash us," to see if cars moved over and drove through the water. Interesting social experiment there. Sitting in lawn chairs with beers in hand, it looks like they mostly got their wish. That's fun, right? I would totally do that in college, by the way. I would be shocked if my friends and I did do that in college, and I just don't have any recollection of it.
You know, I still am having a hard time wrapping my head around why you'd want to be splashed with muddy water, but to each his own.
Yeah.
Seems like a safe way to have fun, so I'm all for it.
You just don't know how to party if you don't like getting splashed by mud puddles by motorists.
You know what? If that's not how I'm partying, that's okay with me.
Welcome to Cleveland. Welcome to Cleveland. That's how we do things around here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get on board then. My bad. All right, next at 5:30 on What's New, new guidance from the CDC will break down what experts are saying about the shorter quarantine period and what you need to know about new information on masking up. Plus, home price spike. Just how many more people were buying homes this year and how much more they were spending, including the numbers here in Ohio. And now that Christmas is over, have you taken down the tree yet? We'll see when the majority of people are putting away the decorations here in Northeast Ohio, coming up in Clicking in Cleveland.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back on your Tuesday. Here are 3 things to know now at 5:30. We are following developing news out of Cleveland. A 43-year-old man was killed this morning after a pickup truck hit him. The man was walking on I-90 after he was involved in another crash near the Fairfield Avenue overpass. He started walking north on the highway when he was hit just before 2 o'clock this morning. We're told a 57-year-old man was driving the pickup truck and was not hurt. No criminal charges have been filed as the incident remains under investigation.
Developing in Northern California tonight, search and rescue efforts continue for a local skier. 43-year-old Rory Angelada graduated from St. Ignatius High School in 1996 and has been missing since Saturday. He works at a ski shop in Truckee, California, and went skiing after work, but never showed up to meet his friends for a planned Christmas meal. 3 News is in contact with his sister, and our Mark Namick will have more on this story coming up at 6.
Today, more COVID testing clinics in Akron. The National Guard helped the Summit County Health Department and Summa Health administer 300 tests, which people had to pre-register for. That site will remain open through the 30th. Tomorrow in Lake County, another drive-thru testing site opens at the Lake County Fairgrounds for rapid antigen tests. No appointment necessary, but tests will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. And Lorain County is offering free rapid tests at Lorain County Health and Dentistry this Friday, that's New Year's Eve, from 7:30 to 11:30 a.m. Again, no registration is required, and we do have all of that information for you on WKYC.com. And with that, we welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New. I'm Isabel Lawrence.
And I'm Mike Polk. Hey, free COVID tests on New Year's Eve. That's a party.
There you go.
There, you got something to do in Lorain now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are doing this ahead of the holidays, and it's great that they are making more accessible because those are so hard to come by these days.
Yeah, good thing to check on before you get out there and start partying on New Year's Eve too, right?
Definitely. Stay safe. Well, now to our top talker. We told you yesterday the CDC issued new guidance on how long people who test positive should remain isolated. This is top of mind right now as new exposures and positive COVID tests results led to many people having to quarantine away from family and friends during the holidays. The CDC has reduced the recommended isolation period for some people testing positive from 10 days to 5, but only if they are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms. And we have learned the new guidelines are partly driven by worker shortages.
You want to make sure that particularly among essential workers, that you get people out there much sooner.
Now, experts are also emphasizing the need for a shift to high-quality masks.
The cloth masks do very, very little. I mean, maybe, just sort of on the margin. The surgical masks are a little bit better. KF94s, KN95s, or N95s. Those are all high-quality masks, and I really think at this point, that's what Americans should be switching to if they want to avoid getting infected.
All right, an important switch there. The change coming as the highly transmissible Omicron variant is fueling a new nationwide surge. The U.S. once again facing a 200,000 daily case average. So that's some good information there to switch out those masks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty late in the game to be hearing about this. And I know that the situation on the ground changes and we have to make those adjustments and whatnot. But these are some pretty stark, different instructions and some different things that we're hearing now. I mean, went from 10 days to 5 days. And I get they just don't have enough essential workers right now, so they need to cut that back. Maybe that was a little bit, but it does raise the question, should these things be dictated by who needs to get back to work, or is the CDC's job to say this is just the healthiest situation and this is how you should do it? And apparently they've weighed that out and said that it's important to get people back in there.
Yeah, it just goes to show this is a completely evolving situation. We've seen that over the past 2 years. The more we learn and these things change. So just have to keep up to date and do your best to stay on top of everything here.
Yeah, and don't get mad at these changing things. Right. I think that's important too. This is a changing virus. It's a new thing. Right. And, we're learning more and more. But I think it's important that people need to know that this isn't something that they're not changing this to mess with you. This is something that's just that we are evolving and learning as we go. And so got to be patient with the medical community as much as possible, I think.
Yeah, do our best to all stay safe and listen to those guidelines.
Yeah.
All right, well, the next trip to the grocery store could cost you even more as food prices are expected to continue rising into the new year. The USDA predicts food costs will rise by as much as 5% in the first half of 2022, with economists putting the blame on higher wages as well as material and freight costs. Pork prices increased for the 9th straight month in December and are expected to increase another 2 to 3% at the start of 2022.
And that's not the only thing going up. Home prices are rising across the nation as well. A new report from S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller 20 City Home Price Index, which is what I always use, speaking personally, it says that October surged housing prices by 18.4% from last year. The hottest cities for home sales were Phoenix, Tampa, and Miami. Minneapolis and Chicago posted the smallest increases. at 11.5% each. Still quite high.
Yeah, people trying to move south and get warm, maybe.
Yes.
Well, Ohio realtors released numbers last week showing 14,290 homes sold in the state last month, a 5.5% increase over sales in November of 2020, with the average home sale price being $240,211, a more than 10% bump from last November. So people moving here to Ohio too.
Yeah, come on, bring it on. I'm a homeowner myself, not to brag or anything like that. It's kind of a dump, but it's mine.
Yeah.
But I have my friends who are realtors who are just like, hey, sell your house. It's the perfect time. Sell your house. You can make so much money right now. And I'm like, but where would I live? That's the thing. I'm gonna go get ripped off by another you somewhere else and have to buy a more expensive house because everything's expensive. So I'm just gonna stick and just wait and die in that house, I think.
Oh, well, like you said, it's all yours.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you're proud of that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, Matt, by the way, just out of curiosity, I've got to ask you, Matt, in a second what's going on with the weather, but before we get to that, we've got a big football game coming up this week. Did you know?
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
that
and
we do, yeah.
Baker is back, folks, and the Browns are in dire need of a win. We're going to talk about what that guy needs to do to avoid an off-season quarterback controversy.
Ooh, and also a look back at the year that was, some of President Biden's biggest challenges as he wraps up his first full year in office.
And you know we're going to hear from Matthew.
Oh, we shall.
Uh-oh, what is this? That is weather in a Giphy if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, you had a question for me. I didn't bring my notes, though. So
No, I'm so
easy.
sorry. Yeah, I get it.
Okay, all right.
My question is, Matt, just so we're clear, how important is this weather in a Giphy that we're seeing right here?
Not at all.
No, not at all?
Yeah, we could probably just cut the break, I'll be honest. But, they asked me to come up with something to represent the weather today, so this is what we came up with. This is what people are saying looking out their window, seeing snowflakes for the first time pretty much all December.
Yeah, that is.
They are.
That's exactly how I felt.
Right, and we're dealing with it now. We'll take another tour through the radars coming up after this.
Horrifying.
Meanwhile, live look at CSU cam right now showing just a wintry mess outside. Couple more hours of this, we're done, everybody. Then there's January.
Mike check. What is clicking in Cleveland is all about Baker Mayfield and the quarterback controversy. Thank you.
Welcome back. Matt, big day here. The wintry mix finally arriving here.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of winter weather for the month of December, as we all know, and we're getting it now. But Isabel, this is going to be so brief. It's going to be out of here by 8, 9 o'clock, and then we'll be talking drizzle overnight tonight. How exciting is that? But we've got a decent push, and I think some impacts over the next couple hours. This is what we were alluding to yesterday in terms of that evening commute thereafter, dealing with some heavier snow. So we started as rain. We're changing a lot of that over to some heavier snow, and it's the big wet flakes, and boy, it is coming down good in spots. This is a live look courtesy ODOT out towards the east in Lake County along Vrooman Road. You can see the visibility's down. Tough to see how much is accumulating there. I got a report from my mother-in-law out in Ashtabula County saying some big fluffy flakes there. Temps still above freezing. This is down towards the Akron area. Not a lot of accumulation out of this, but still some flakes flying in the atmosphere. And you can see perhaps a slushy half-inch or so out towards Brunswick. Roads are fine right now, though. You get that untreated part out towards the median or the berm. May have some slick spots, especially next couple hours, and you can't really tell what's going on there. Got our camera pretty nicely there, 71 at 271. So slick travel in spots, especially where that heavier snowfall rate is, the next 3 hours or so. And then we'll clear things out from the west. If you have late evening travel, should be okay. Temperatures above freezing, that's key. Road temperatures above freezing as well. But keep in mind, you get that heavier snowfall, puts down that coating. It'll take your road temperature down to freezing. So we're going to keep these temps above the freezing mark. So once all this moves on out, everything will melt away. Even anything you get in the grass should melt away tonight. You can see this push now clearing the Toledo area. Decent moisture with us, though, and then we just go to drizzle tonight. Union Home Mortgage, well, that would be our 7-day National Design Mart. Thank you for that. Hour-by-hour forecast here. You can see the drizzle we have tonight. We're near 40 degrees all night, so it's really not going to be too much of a temperature story. Tomorrow, we ought to make the low to mid-40s by afternoon. Pretty quiet day. We'll have lots of cloud cover around, maybe some late-day rain as well. Here's the warmer air trying to get in here. It's not going to, but look how cold it is up in the upper Midwest. That's where the Arctic air is, and it doesn't stop there. They are loaded in Canada right now with lots of cold air. This is cold by their standards as well, but we have kept it at bay. It's been off towards the west all winter long so far. There are signs that that changes, but no time soon. You can see a little bit of snow possible, maybe a slushy inch or two at best. So as we go through time, that cold air is going to unlock this weekend briefly. You can see weak system slides through on Thursday. If you have New Year's Eve plans, plan for the umbrella around. It will be warm around here. That's the good news. Should be in the 40s and 50s. Here comes the rain, though. New Year's Eve night, and then New Year's Day, we deal with a big system across the eastern half of the country. That will make for a very soggy Saturday. So we're ringing in 2022 on a soggy note Saturday. On the backside of that Saturday night, Sunday, we turn sharply colder. That's going to be our first hit of Arctic air, really, of the season so far. It doesn't stick around as it looks right now. We'll have another up and down pattern next week. Heavy snow at the leading edge of this system on the northern edge doesn't look to hit us. And look out west. I'm telling you, this is a record ski season for them. They are just getting nailed with snow. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. We remain mild over the next couple days with that rain moving in. Temps tumble Sunday, then Monday we may not get out of the 20s. Mike, we're back to 34 degrees. Probably the worst temperature out there because it's just be one or the other, right?
It's not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to you.
Keep that mess up there in Canada.
That's right.
All right?
That's right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, it's now time to see what is clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we turn to our digital anchor, Stephanie Christine Haney. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, Michael. You know, we cannot talk about the Browns without mentioning whether the Browns will keep Baker Mayfield around after next season. So our 3 News sports analyst, Ben Axelrod, gives us his take on what Baker needs to do to avoid that quarterback controversy. Here's Ben's main takeaways. The reality is that next season is currently the last year of his contract, and Baker's recent play and injuries have made a long-term extension unlikely for now, so the Browns may have to consider other options at QB. But here's the kicker. That can all change if the Browns win the next 2 games and make the playoffs. So let's just do that, please. Save us all a bunch of chit-chat. Now, it starts on Monday Night Football when you can watch the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers right here on WKYC. The pregame huddle starts at 7 p.m. and kickoff is at 8:15. Okay, now let's talk more influencers from our list of social media personalities that you need to follow before this year is over. Possibly one of the loudest and most outrageous voices of Cleveland, Joey Kinsley, aka Sir Yacht, will keep you laughing and cheering on the Browns on Twitter. Gabby Gowdy is also great for that. She is a dedicated fan, she's funny, and she doesn't take trash talk from internet trolls. And if you love true crime, you have to follow James Renner's Instagram account for his true crime podcast, Philosophy of Crime, which lets us all in on the joke about how strange our obsession really is with murderous humans. It is absolutely the best, and links to those accounts are on WKYC.com. And now with Christmas over comes the age-old debate. When do you take down your Christmas tree? Our viewers are very opinionated on this one on our WKYC Facebook page. Barb Miles is the one camp who already has started packing up her Santas away. She did it today. She says he's done with his 2021 assignment, but some of her decorations stay up through the January 6th Epiphany. And a lot of you say, let's let this thing ride, and you're in no rush to take down your decorations because you just love them so very much, so why take them down? Here's a popular one, though. Lots of people say they are keeping them up until they can have delayed family Christmas gatherings, since so many were put on hold. I would have to say I kind of fall into that camp, hoping for the same, but no matter what, Mike, Isabel, this weekend, it's got to go. It's a real sad situation. The bottom strands of lights are not working. My tree is completely dry. What about you two? When are you taking them down?
That's sad.
Well, you're already done, you said.
I took mine down last night because I'm a sociopath, even though it's not even New Year's yet. And but I just wanted it over with. I ripped off the Band-Aid. How about you?
Oh, my little plastic tree is still standing strong in the corner of my living room.
Okay, so yours is holding up okay.
Oh, yeah, the plastic really tends to do the trick, I find. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Stephanie. When are you going to do it? When are you going to pull the plug? Do you know?
Gotta
be this weekend.
Gotta be this weekend.
That's as far as I can handle it.
Good advice. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
All righty. Well, next on What's New, President Biden has almost been in office for 1 full year. We'll look back at some of his administration's biggest challenges this year and look ahead to 2022.
And then the Globetrotters are in Cleveland, and one of them stopped by a local school before their big game. Hear his message to kids about the importance of reading. That'll be nice.
Well, it's been quite a first year for the Biden White House, between massive ups and downs with the global pandemic, of course, successes and challenges on Capitol Hill, Afghanistan, Russia, climate change, and so much more.
Yes, NBC's Monica Alba looks back at President Biden's first year in office and the challenges his administration faces in 2022.
Every president's first year in office tests the power of promise, marked with campaign pledges kept and those still unfulfilled.
We're going to keep up the fight until we get it done.
Before Joe Biden was even sworn in, he knew the coronavirus pandemic would largely define the beginning of his term.
To heal, we must remember.
Honoring the hundreds of thousands dead on the eve of his inauguration.
This is Democracy's Day, a day of history and hope.
The Biden-Harris administration launching a massive effort to get Americans vaccinated.
It's time to act. We can reduce suffering in this country.
Leading to the president's first legislative victory in March in the form of a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. As 100 days in office marked more than 100 million COVID vaccine shots administered.
Go get vaccinated, America.
Still, many refuse to roll up their sleeves, even as new variants brought spikes and surges.
It's become a political issue, which is a sad, sad commentary.
The Biden administration's vaccine mandates for federal workers, contractors, and private businesses challenged in courts.
It's not about just go and get the vaccine, it's about having the choice to get it.
Rules and enforcement across the country a tangled web as U.S. COVID deaths topped 800,000 and normal never quite returned.
Do not wait. Go get your booster if it's time for you to do so.
Overseas, high-stakes challenges on the world stage as the U.S. rejoined the Paris Agreement, the international treaty on climate change.
The United States is determined to re-engage with Europe.
While also placing sanctions on Russia ahead of a critical face-to-face summit with Vladimir Putin in Switzerland. Yet it was Afghanistan that would move front and center after the president announced his decision to withdraw all troops from the country by the 20th anniversary of September 11th.
We'll do it responsibly, deliberately, and safely.
Underestimating how quickly the Taliban would take control, resulting in a chaotic and deadly evacuation.
I am President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me. But I do not regret my decision to end America's war fighting in Afghanistan.
The president followed up on his pledge to combat global warming at a major UN summit in Glasgow.
We meet with the eyes of history upon us.
Climate also a key part of the president's domestic agenda, revoking a permit for the Keystone XL pipeline and halting new energy leasing in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Also keeping his word when appointing a diverse cabinet and repealing the ban on transgender personnel in the armed forces.
Transgender personnel, if qualified in every other way, can serve our government in the United States military.
On Capitol Hill, after months of negotiations and Democratic infighting, a scaled-back $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill is signed into law.
America's moving again, and your life is going to change for the better.
While the second half of the president's economic agenda, a massive social spending and climate plan, is now in limbo with no clear path forward, along with other major priorities still stalled in Congress.
Free the vote!
Like voting rights.
The people need the fur! The people act!
Police reform.
Ain't no justice in this town! Ain't no justice in this town!
Creating a pathway to citizenship.
A promise of protection for immigrant families. Nothing has changed.
And making Roe v. Wade the law of the land.
Abortion still needs to be legal.
With much still unfinished, the president will now take the country into a new year of change and challenges ahead of the critical 2022 midterm elections. Monica Alba, NBC News, the White House.
Next, the Globetrotters are in Cleveland tonight. I bet $30 on them. See one of the players visit to a local school ahead of their big performances.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, space race. A detailed look at what NASA hopes to uncover in 2022.
And today is National Download Day. Our pop quiz question: how many apps does the average mobile phone user have? A, 30, B, 40, or C, 50? The answer when we return. Before the break, we asked you how many apps does the average mobile phone user have? And the answer is B, 40. 40 apps. That's more than I have.
Wow, that is a lot more than I thought.
Yes. Now to our Show Us Something Good. Right before the holiday break began, one of the Harlem Globetrotters, Zeus McClurkin, great name, popped into town to promote the team's upcoming appearance in Cleveland.
Zeus was kind enough to go over to our station's adopted school, Charles Dickens School, where he not only showed off some cool basketball skills, but he taped a special message about the importance of reading for the students.
Hey everybody, this is Zeus McClurkin of the world famous Harlem Globetrotters. I'm here today to tell you guys that reading is so fundamental and it's very important. When I was younger, when I was these kids' age, I was not a very good reader, but I had to find a way to find interest in good books. And one way was to find a book that I was super interested in. Basketball was one way to do that. So basketball was kind of my way to learn how to read better. It's pretty cool.
Very cool, and as you saw, he even tucked a special book about the Globetrotters into the school's little free library before he left. The Globetrotters had an earlier performance at 2 and another coming up at 7 at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
That's great. Go Globetrotters. Beat the Generals. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching What's New.
Yeah, what matters most starts right now. Lost in the snow, a local man's family fears the worst after he went on a ski trip in the middle of a snowstorm. Testing time. Long lines as potential COVID patients get tested in Akron, while other county health departments prepare for other mass testing clinics of their own. Quarantine questions.
If you look at the safety of the public and the need to have society not disrupt